What's going on, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. Sorry we're late. We had life happen, so sorry about that. But we got Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube rolling. And Adam Carlson can't be here tonight. He's taking care of the family honorably, nobly. Thank you
Family first. Family always comes first here at the Purple People Podcast.
very much so. It's just the Kyle show tonight, so I'm sorry if you wanted to see Adam's beautiful bearded face, but you're just gonna have to wait another week. But hey, we're gonna talk about a lot of stuff on episode 423 here. Is Paton the Curve. We're gonna talk about George Patton, talent scout, assistant GM, whatever his title officially is. He is gone, and that should worry some folks. Should make a lot of people happy, but I think more of if we're doing a 50-50 scale, I think we should be more worried than not that he's gone because it takes more than one person to evaluate talent. And if he's Rick Spielman's right-hand man, this could go up slowly or it could take a quick nosedive.
George Patton was the number 2 guy in Minnesota for a long time. So I think, and we will discuss this further when we get into the topic, but it is a blow to the organization for sure. Good hire by the Denver Broncos.
Very good. Tyler, what's up, dude? We're going to leave your comment up for a little while. I love that Facebook can have interactions with us now, too. That's cool.
Oh, yeah. So cool.
I don't know why Twitch does this. I'm just going to complain a little bit while we're on air, but Twitch is still not popped up on my phone, and we're already 2 minutes in. So that's frustrating. But if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook like Tyler is, thank you for commenting. And we'll answer a question to start off. Do you guys think Zimmer needs to go? Kyle, we'll let you go first.
I am going to say no, not yet. I think that we are in a rebuild, retool stage. I think that was pretty clear even at the beginning of the season that we are retooling. Usually that's about a 3-year process. So I think that you give Zimmer this season and next season, and then if we're not where we need to be, I think you move on from him. But I think for the short term, we keep him around on the team.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and back that up as well. Here, to give you kind of a more generic approach, but more focused in for me personally, here's why Zimmer needs to stay. I'm always, if you've listened to this show ever and you know anything about me, you have to upgrade. We can't go get a shittier coach than Zimmer. Zimmer will make a defense good. I think he is 50% to blame along with Rick Spielman for not having a defense prepared because it was all backups. And that's actually one of the things we're going to talk about here shortly is 4 big decisions that backfired in the Vikings from the Viking age where Adam Carlson works. So we get to steal their content and use it for our show, which is awesome. But to narrow it down, no. Here's what I'm going to say. When the team comes back at mostly full strength next year, Michael Pierce, Danielle Hunter, Eric Kendricks, Anthony Barr, this team's going to do a major turnaround. There's going to be pressure on the quarterback. There's going to be better coverage. And we finished 7-9 with a shitload of second stringers and guys off the street. So if the Vikings don't make the playoffs next year, he needs to go. But I think they're going to.
Here's an interesting spin on it, though. Should the Vikings have kept Kevin Stefanski? We're seeing it.
I don't think so because the offense went to top 5 this year, I think. And here's my take on Kevin Stefanski. He got gifted a pretty good team. Myles Garrett's a beast. They have 2 stud fucking running backs on there. Excuse the swearing. Sorry, guys. You have OBJ and Jarvis Landry, good tight ends, pretty good O-line. He took the Vikings formula with a pretty identical roster in a tough division, and they just needed a competent coach. That's just my opinion.
Right on.
I think it sucks that we're going to have to change offensive coordinators again.
Again, yeah.
That's annoying. That's
Brian Schottenheimer. Shotty. He's good.
Hey, you know what? I'll take a negative subject here and I'll turn it there. I would love Adam Gase to come be the offensive coordinator because he sucks as a head coach, and the Jets are pretty bad all around everywhere. I think he could do some cool stuff as an OC. And I know if Peyton Manning had praise for him, if Kirk Cousins is half the nerd that I think he is, that could manage.
Boy, I don't know. I don't know if I'd like to see that one happen. He seems like his goodwill and fortune seems to have run out in the NFL at this point. I heard
Yeah,
that
I
some
think he'll
team
go
is.
somewhere, but who knows, man? I don't know what the hell they're going to do. The Vikings like to hire internally, so Clint Kubiak would probably be the generic answer that's safe. Um, I don't. Who knows? There's still a lot to unravel there, and nobody's made a head coaching decision yet. I think for all the 7 teams that have coaching vacancies, there's Atlanta, Jacksonville, the Texans. Who else fired their coach? Detroit, New York Jets. That's 5. Who am I missing that fired their coach? If you guys think of it, let me know. But I always see that, like, which of these? Oh, Philly just fired Doug Peterson, which is fucking hilarious. A statue of that guy forever,
I
3 years ago.
oh, I
So
love the
good.
statue. The fucking statue is my favorite thing in the world.
Oof.
That they built. They were excited in the moment, and they built that stupid statue. And what? How many? That was what 2, 3 seasons ago.
3 seasons ago, and they're both gone,
They're both gone. Nick
which is
Foles was
hilarious.
gone. Nick Foles was gone immediately, and Peterson is just like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm out of here. I love it. What do they do with the statue now? Do they keep it?
Oh, you have to keep it because that's an iconic play. But it's just funny that I would have guessed, and I heard this on Levitard today. It was like they were talking to Chris Long because he was on the Atlanta 28-3 comeback Patriots team, and then he was on Philly the next year, much like LeGarrette Blount switch. They were teammates, so they had 2 Super Bowls with and against the Pats, which is cool. But he's like, yeah, dude, I thought our offensive line was like one of the best in history. That was one of the coolest teams. Is like Dan Levitard said, I would have guessed if in that moment that you won the Super Bowl, that in 3 years Doug Peterson is out. It's like it's got to be because of a scandal, right? Not because they suck and they're losing a lot. But
You know what? You know what? Eat it, Philly.
you
Eat
know
it.
what? I'm not even going to say that, even though I really want to. I just think I respect Doug Peterson a lot because he was like he wanted control. Apparently, that was the rumor that came out from a couple of people. Like who was it? It's not Andrew Siciliano. It's Tom Pelissero or
Yeah.
Rappaport. Sorry, Ian Rappaport put it as like he wanted more control, and they said no. And he was like, "All right, cool, I'm out. I won you your only Super Bowl," which is, I mean, that's a solid
Hey,
point. But that's so funny, so funny.
look at the
Uh,
receiver they drafted and gifted us, Justin Jefferson. Was he
uh,
wrong for being like, give me more control of the team? If that's what happened, I don't know. Anyway,
yeah,
back to the Vikings here.
yeah, there's a lot of drama there. Jonathan, what's up, dude? Dan Quinn is going to Dallas as the DC. That's the former Atlanta head coach. He was a very good DC in Seattle as well. I think that's better suited for him because Atlanta's had a pretty crappy record since their Super Bowl appearance too. It's crazy how it nosedives after this. The only consistent team is the Patriots, and they didn't even go to the playoffs this year. Oh, here's a good one. Tyler wants to know what's our thoughts about Cook not making the All Pro. It's blasphemy, and not even
Oh,
not making All
yes.
Pro, not even getting a vote. Are you kidding me? What?
Because Cook is the MVP that makes this offense roll for the Minnesota Vikings. And spoilers, we have 2 really good receivers on this team as well too. But Dalvin Cook is the gear that makes this offense turn. So it is an absolute shame. He didn't even get a vote for it. It's blasphemy.
Yeah, Tyler, we're with you. It's complete BS.
Yeah,
And outside of Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry really turned it on at the end of the year, and shout out to him because he's a
right.
man child. He's a defensive end playing running back, and it's gross. But outside of Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook's the second best running back in the league. He's
Christian
more complete
McCaffrey.
than Derrick Henry. Yeah. McCaffrey, yeah, for sure.
He's
He'll be
also
out all year.
he's also injured, but
Yeah, I
yeah.
because he was injured, I didn't really throw him in that mix. But Dalvin Cook's top 3 between those 3, absolutely. And to not get a single vote, what are you guys doing? I don't know.
Eh.
I can't get it because they recognize Justin Jefferson as second team All Pro, and there's a couple other receivers that had pretty good years. But to not recognize Dalvin Cook at all, that I don't know what they were thinking, man. They,
Which
they
I
definitely worked on that.
I personally thought Jefferson being second team was a bit of a snub.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Should
go by
sh-
Pro Football Focus's record, he's right behind Devontae Adams as the second best receiver all year. Thanks again, Philly. Shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles on this
Yeah.
show. Uh,
Fist bump, Eagles.
yeah, thank you for taking
Yeah.
Jalen Rager. That was a steal. Let's talk about some decisions that backfired this year because this was a great article over on the Viking Age where our own Adam Carlson works. This was written by Dean Jones, so shout out to Dean. Before things backfired, because I saw Yannick Ngakwe's picture, and we know that's going to be up there. But the first one, which was, I figured this might be on here, but I didn't think it was be number one, was not starting Ezra Cleveland sooner. Yeah, why did you
Yep.
go to Mia for
Yep.
so long? That's some of the questionable stuff I can't understand unless the guy behind him is just that much worse.
That is that stupid ass coach mentality of we want to go with the veteran experience over top of the unproven rookie, even though the rookie is clearly better than the guy in front of him on the depth chart. The Vikings fall victim to this all the time. You know, remember when Stephon Diggs sat for the first, 4 or 5 games of the season before he was active, and then he comes on and explodes out into the field for the Vikings. They kind of did it with Justin Jefferson, the slow start with Jefferson. They did it with Ezra Cleveland. You know, get these guys out there, man.
And you know what? I'll give a prime example to back up your point. If the guy's good enough playing, look what happened with Russell Wilson. Matt Flynn plays one game with the Packers, throws like 6 touchdowns. They sign him. They draft Russell Wilson, and he comes out and completely beats his ass in training camp. You start Russell Wilson. That kind of worked out for him.
Because Pete Carroll is a baller and knows what he's doing. Not to knock Mike Zimmer, but he recognized talent and was like, hey, we might have just spent a lot of money on Matt Flynn, but Russell Wilson's going to be our guy.
Yeah, and you got to respect that. Hey, cool. He beat you out, and we all know it, so he's going to play. Yeah, that was stupid. The second thing that really backfired on the Vikings this year, God, this hurts. Releasing Linval Joseph. Dear God.
Yeah.
We missed that guy.
I said that
almost as much as we missed Daniil Hunter all year.
Maybe more.
And I have a graphic, and maybe I'll log into Facebook if my computer doesn't have a stroke while I'm doing it to show you. But basically, it was what kind of graph is that? I haven't been to school in a long time. Sorry, guys. What's up, Viking Jerome? I didn't see you at the bottom there. What's up, dude? What are your thoughts, man? We're going to talk about playoffs here in a second, and George Patton left, so that's going to be a big blow to talent evaluation. But basically, at the very bottom of the corner that goes up, at a 45-degree angle, where this would be the most productive up here and the least productive, the Vikings are all alone at the bottom at the start of the graph for pass rushing, for sacks and pass rushes, like as far as pressures and hits. And they're dead last. The Vikings defense was ass this year. And there was no pressure on the quarterback ever. So the fact that they won almost as many games as they lost is kind of amazing to me. Just to tell you how good the offense was. So, yeah, that was – God, we missed that guy. And he's still got a couple of good years left, I think.
Linval was a player that I was really sad to see the Vikings leave, and they thought they were going to fill the role with Michael Pierce. The COVID and the opt-out happened. Unavoidable. Another good comment here in the chat, though, is that they really didn't do anything to address it after Michael Pierce opted out. That falls on Mike Zimmer. You got to hold him accountable for that one. But, Linval is definitely a player that we missed in purple this year. They should have did more to keep him around.
It's crazy because the talent of Daniil Hunter, a top 5 defensive end in the league. You go out and you get Yannick Ngakwe, which is the third thing on here that backfired because they ended up getting rid of him. But to have so much faith in Shamar Stephen and Jaleel Johnson, I don't get it. I don't, because you've seen it time and time again when they rotate in. It's not like when they rotate in, like DeMarcus Ware at the end of his career, where he would rotate in on an occasional basis and then disrupt a play. Like the year we played in Denver and in Arizona in 2015, we both lost those games at the end, where the right tackle just completely – was it Khalil? Yeah, it was Khalil. Of course it was Matt Khalil. Piss on Matt Khalil. But they smacked the ball out of Teddy's hand at the very end of both of those games. You're like, oh, I get it. Like, they still have it. That's not the same here. Those guys are not those kind of impact players to come in on situational downs and That's a really good comment from Jonathan. Unique Ngakwe was the third. That sucked. I really like Unique Ngakwe. I wish he was
I
the
still
third.
don't quite understand what happened with that one. They gave up all the picks to bring him in. Did they not do? I mean, if you read into the rumor mill, he was just out there freelancing, not really wanting to buy into the defensive scheme, and that might have been part. And well, I mean,
This
I,
year sucked, man. This year was terrible.
yeah,
And fun fact, even if he was freelancing, which I'm not for that kind of anarchy where they go against the coach, like going against
but
him.
also, well, continue. Sorry,
He's the sack leader for the Vikings this year, and he only played in 6 games. Are you
I'm gonna.
shitting me?
I was just gonna say Jared Allen, and I'm not comparing the two at all here with this statement, but a lot of times Jared Allen freelanced out on the field, and he freelanced his way into the Hall of Fame, where he will be here really shortly. So occasionally, it can work out for you. I don't understand the Unique Ngakwe situation for the Vikings. That's
I
just
think
one
it's
of those.
funny, dude. I think that's what
I
it was. They're going to have to pay Hunter. I think Hunter's going to get a pay increase on the offseason. But also, the cap's going down. They're going to lose some key players. And I think it was money. I think they're like, oh, shit. I don't think we can pay this guy, which I don't understand how you don't think about that before you trade for him. But he's the most productive. He has the most sacks for a Viking this year, and he wasn't on the team for over half the season.
yeah.
So that's stupid. And then the Jacksonville fans fleecing it to where the comp pick is going to be higher because he got into the Pro Bowl or trying to get into the Pro Bowl, I think. He didn't make a big splash with Baltimore, but I digress. Ugh.
You know.
Oh, here's a great question. Would y'all rather that we have a top 3 defensive line and an average offensive line, or flip it, an elite top 3 O-line and an average D-line? I want the first one. I want a top 3 defensive line and an average O-line, because just an average offensive line, 15th out of 32, we can get a lot done. Because the team this year was like, what, top 5 in offense? And that offensive line was trash. But if you're out there just fucking up everybody's protection and getting after their quarterback, secondary is going to be better. Linebacker is going to have an easier time. And that's going to put your average O-line on the field more. That's just my thought process. After this year being terrible D-line play, you can't talk me out of that.
Very true, and with all the shit that we just got done talking about the defensive line, I'm going to go the opposite and say we need that top 3 O-line, because we haven't really had that in Minnesota since, Steve Hutchinson was on this team. So it's been a long time. I'm really all in on investing on that offensive line. Let's go out there. Let's make a splash in free agency. What do we got to do to solidify some position, whether it be left tackle, right tackle, guard? I don't care who. Go out there.
Both
guard. Yeah, both guards. Let's spend some money. Let's keep Kirk Cousins upright, because when Kirk has the time to make his progressions and make reads on the field, he can deliver for Minnesota. It's when he's under constant duress that you see bad Kirk, and bad Kirk will cost us games. I think we improve the offensive line. We can get away with an average defensive line a little bit in Minnesota. This year, we were so far below average that, that don't even count. Average would be sufficient.
Yeah, I'm all in for the O-line too. Defense with championships. It's a good point. We'll see. We'll see which defense shows up for the Super Bowl, and we'll talk about the playoffs here shortly. To piggyback on Kyle's point, I'll do the little point first and the big one later. The little point is I don't like mobile Kirk Cousins. He's not Cam Newton and he's not Lamar Jackson. Also, I don't like it when he fumbles. So when he's getting his ass beat in the pocket, he fumbles a lot. That's just not one of his strong suits. Also, you paid the guy like $120 million. Keep his ass upright. So I totally understand that point going forward. That's just me. Couldn't exit out of this without talking about it. The last point was letting Mackenzie Alexander walk. I'm okay with him going. I liked Mackenzie Alexander, but I really like the progression of some of the corners that we had, like Cameron Dantzler and Jeff Gladney. Especially Jeff Gladney came on hot at the end. Cameron Dantzler had a lot of flashes this season, but yeah, I miss Alexander. Let's talk about this guy named Taylor Heineke who had himself a game in the playoffs this weekend, and we'll transition to the playoffs. Holy crap, man. Did the Vikings whiff on letting him go or what? He was online taking classes a month ago. And you guys have Sean Mannion out there? Are you? Oh, I want to scream. So I'm gonna simmer down.
Taylor Heineke was in the XFL, St. Louis Battlehawk.
Oh, really?
He was a Saint. He was yeah. St. Louis Battlehawk, man. So he's been keeping himself active, even though, like you said, he was doing the online classes thing. It was a dumb decision for him to put his foot through that door. They ended up. they ended up getting him put on IR, cut from the team, whatever.
It's call a locksmith, dude. You make more than the average person in the U.S. Call a locksmith and don't do
call
that.
Call fucking locksmith.
But also just 1% kind of badass that you put your foot through.
Yeah, a little bit too. How can you not root for the guy?
Dude, he played his heart out.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story. I hope the Washington football team, one, I hope they get a name here soon.
Yes.
Two, I hope Taylor Heineke gets an opportunity to compete for whatever their quarterback room looks like coming into 2021. He deserves it, man. He totally deserves it.
John Young makes a good point here, talking about free agency earlier. Get Joe Thuney from the Patriots in free agency. Draft best available D-line, preferably tackle, with Hunter, Pierce, that draftee, and the Wanham Odenigbo. That's not too shabby in the line. I love that. And like two of those guys are going to come back, next season, which is going to be great. But that nose tackle position, that's going to be something to watch. I like Joe Thuney, but I want to get the guard from, I don't know, there's a good guard from Alabama. There's a good guard from, I believe, Ohio State. If they're there, take them. But also, there's really good DNs that might be available too. Like, you can't go wrong on the defensive line, especially just in theory. Let's say we find another Danielle Hunter. So you get two Danielle Hunters coming in on either side. That's scary in and of itself. But imagine them rotating in behind like a DJ Wanham, and there's just constant pressure from the edge on the other quarterback. That's insane. Yeah. So I like that idea. There's really no wrong way to go. The Vikings have a laundry list of needs. So whatever they pick, I'm sure it's going to be all right because they're picking in the first half of it. So they're going to get a good player regardless.
I just long for the days that we had like the Matt Burke and the Steve Hutchinson on the same offensive line out there for this team, where it's like, you're set. That's what I want. That's what I want for this team moving forward. Find me those two players again, please.
Yeah, you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah.
We'll go through and talk about the playoffs real quick because football is still going on, so we're definitely going to cover it. The Washington football team, they hosted on Saturday night. It's going to be kind of jumbled up. We'll do the NFC first. Division winners of the NFC East at like 7-9. That division is trash. Alex Smith, his calf wasn't ready, so Taylor Heineke came out, put up a great effort. They made the game competitive, which was a lot of fun. But they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who now move on to play the Saints. The Saints beat the shit out of the Chicago Bears, and it was a lot of fun to watch. And I really love that they kept Matt Nagy and the GM for another year, which is hilarious to me. I don't know where Mitch Trubisky goes. I think they have to move on from him.
Well, they brought in the old coordinator from Minnesota. So
look at the date on that. He's actually been there all season. This was
he really
last year? Yeah, John. Is the quarterback because I looked at it. So today's January 13th, and I was like, "How are they 3 days ahead of us?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're not in 2020 anymore. It's 2021."
Gotcha.
It's gonna take some time to get used to. But yes, that's a fun nugget that Kyle West found out today. John DeFilippo is a quarterbacks coach in Chicago. Good luck getting Biscuit to play at a high level because he sucks.
Yeah. They move on from him, right?
You have to.
They have to move on from Mitch.
He looked terrible in that game. Oh, God. See, I hope this doesn't happen. If Tom Brady goes to the Super Bowl, I'm going to be one of those tinfoil hat guys that says that the NFL is definitely rigged. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Tampa Bay in there. I want to see Green Bay or New Orleans play the Chiefs or the Bills. That's what I want to see. That was
You
in the
know,
Super Bowl.
we're going to get some flack for this because we're a Vikings podcast, and I'm going to praise Aaron Rodgers here for a minute.
That's fine.
But I listen to Pat McAfee every day.
Yep.
And every time they bring Aaron Rodgers on, I like him as a person more and more a little bit every single time. And so it makes me kind of want to root for him, and I hate to admit that on a Vikings podcast. But we are nothing if not truthful here on the show.
I'll say something that'll round it out and stop the chaos that's going on in keyboards right now to come towards us. I hope that he wins the MVP because he is the most valuable player based on what he did this year. He is. And it's going to go to a quarterback, even though Derrick Henry rushed for 2,000 yards. It's going to go to Aaron Rodgers. You know what happens when the MVP wins the MVP and goes to the Super Bowl? They don't win the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson didn't make it to the Super Bowl. Cam Newton didn't win a Super Bowl.
Adrian Peterson.
There you go. Tom Brady, the year they played the Eagles, didn't win a Super Bowl. Let Aaron Rodgers rightfully win the MVP so he cannot win a Super Bowl. I'm with it.
I'm telling you, he's going to be a Viking to end his career out. He's going to do the Brett Favre thing.
Jonathan's rooting for the Browns. Hey, that's why I'm wearing this headband, man. I woke up today feeling dangerous.
I think we're all rooting for Cleveland a little bit, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
You got to pull for Cleveland.
Rod, what's up, dude? We're talking about the playoffs right now. We're going through the NFC, so we covered the Saints. Who else played? Oh, thanks a lot, Seattle. You lost me a parlay this weekend because you shit the bed at home. And one of the coldest burns I've ever heard in my entire football watching life. Jalen Ramsey was talking about this. I had to piece it together. He's looking back at the camera and goes, tell them to take them shirts and hats and go to Cabo, talking about the Seahawks getting their division championships, like for the NFC West, as they beat them in Seattle to move to the divisional playoff round. And I thought that was one of the funniest things I've ever heard from a guy, at least in the last couple years. And thanks a lot, Seattle, that you ruined that for me. Thanks a lot. That's the NFC. The AFC. So the first game that I remember, I'm in Nashville. So the Titans definitely pooped the bed against the Ravens. Lamar Jackson happened, which was a lot of fun to watch.
I'm pulling. I'm a big Lamar Jackson fan. I'm pulling for the Ravens. I like that.
Yeah, I liked him. I like him too. I'm glad that he doesn't have that cloud hanging over his head. And it was a road playoff game, so he definitely can shut some people
right
up.
on.
I think they're going to give the Bills some problems too. It's going to be a really good game. Who else? Oh, the Browns beat the Steelers in probably the most epic first quarter I've ever seen in the playoffs ever.
Oh my God! Within the first 14 seconds they scored.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
How does your all-pro center snap the ball 13 feet in the air on the first play of the game in Pittsburgh too?
That's another question for you. Big Ben, is he done? Do you think we've seen the last of him?
He was crying like he's wanting to leave, even though earlier in the season he said he wants to come back. I think what they should do is let him come back for one more year and at least find a stopgap like a Bridgewater or a Ryan Fitzpatrick or Cam Newton. The Patriots aren't going to bring him back. Go get Cam and let him work with Mike Tomlin. That would be awesome. I think they would find someone like that to come in and be the backup, or maybe they'll draft one. Who knows? But I think he's done next year. I think he's going to come back for one more hoorah because they still have that defense is nasty at Pittsburgh, just nasty.
I don't like Big Ben.
I'm not a fan of his.
I'm not a fan of his, so please retire.
That's fair. And the other one, now that you said that, because they're in the same draft class, Phillip Rivers got his first round exit as per usual with the Colts because the Buffalo Bills hung on to win in Buffalo. Shout out to Stephon Diggs. Rooting for you, buddy.
I'm still a Diggs fan. Are you? What's the chat?
Dude, absolutely. And it's you know what, Viking fans, if you can feel me out on this, when he said without a doubt, no cap on it, that the rookie of the year was Justin Jefferson, I was like, I respect that. He didn't want to be in a run first offense. He wants to be the guy. Okay, we got plenty enough compensation for him. I was arguing with some dumbass on Facebook about that because he's like, oh, what is the Vikings record this year? Talking about the Diggs trade and how Buffalo's in the playoffs. I was like, we're not in the playoffs because the defense was like 30th out of 32. You know we got a first rounder for him, and he was a 5th-round pick, right? Well, the Texans trade away DeAndre Hopkins for a second. Oh, by the way, the kid was drafted with that first-round pick. Did you see him this year? I think we're all good. We're good here.
Yeah.
But
What do you say? What's the chat say? Are you guys pro Stephon Diggs or are you anti Diggs? Tell us what you think in there. Because I'm still a Stephon Diggs fan. Of course we wish that he was still here in Minnesota, but we found a good replacement with Justin Jefferson. So I want to see success from them both. Diggs is one of my favorite players in the league, regardless of him being a Viking or a Brown, or not a Brown, a Bills.
I think this is how John feels, how a lot of us feel. I like to see Diggs do good, but I also don't want him in the Super Bowl. Call me petty, but that's how I feel. I get it.
That's honest.
You know, he doesn't play for Green Bay, so if he wins a Super Bowl, I'm not going to be pissed. If he went to the anime and won one, I would probably make a dartboard with his face on it. But no, I'm happy for the guy. He's in his
also,
prime.
You know what, man? Buffalo's been kind of shitty for a while too.
That's a good
So
point.
just seeing them have some success is like, okay, I like that. I like when there's chaos in the NFL. Like you can't always have the Patriots and the Seahawks and the teams that are always in there. Like I like it when there's like, oh, the Bills are good. Oh, the Browns are good. Like that makes the league fun when that happens.
So this is still technically the 2020 NFL season, so it would be the most 2020. And we're talking about Paton the Curve, like flatten the curve for COVID. The most COVID 2020 thing ever, the Browns and the Bills. Not only do they get in, but they win a playoff game.
Right
They
on.
haven't done that in a very long time. I know the Bills hadn't won a playoff game since I think Josh Allen was born. So that's pretty cool.
Whew.
Or maybe that was the Browns.
Yeah.
But it's been a long time.
Well, the Browns, it had been like 18, 19 years, I think they said.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, that'd be cool, man, if the Bills and the Browns met in the AFC Championship game. That means Cleveland would have to beat they'd have to beat the Chiefs, which I don't think that's going to happen. And the Bills are going to play the Ravens. I think they could beat the Ravens. It'll be entertaining, but they definitely could meet, so that's cool. Either one of those teams going to the Super Bowl, I wouldn't be pissed about. I'd rather see the Bills in the Super Bowl because I just don't see Baker Mayfield winning a Super Bowl. I can see Josh Allen doing some crazy shit to win.
I can see. I won't knock Baker that far, but I would not want to run into Patrick Mahomes at this stage in his career in the playoffs. You're not getting by him. Dude is next.
28 points in the first quarter for the Browns and the Steelers. A lot of that was fluke stuff, like a high botch snap. The Chiefs will put 28 on you in a quarter because they feel like it. So
yeah,
that's crazy. That was it for the playoff recap. So this coming weekend, that was super wild card weekend. There were 6 games, 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday.
Love it.
And the
Love it.
championship for college on Monday. It was the best weekend of the year. So this weekend, it's going to be the Packers hosting the Rams. The Bills are hosting the Ravens. The Saints are hosting the Bucks. And the Kansas City Chiefs are hosting the Cleveland Browns. So it's divisional weekend.
Do you want to make some predictions quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go through and let's make some predictions.
I've already cast this out in one of my little bets that I have going on that I paid about $20 to get in. I'm going with all the teams that are hosting. I'm going with the Chiefs. I'm going with the Saints, the Packers, and the Bills. And they're the better team, I feel like.
I like it. You'll have to run them down for me because I've already forgot the slate of games. So
first one is the Rams at the Packers.
I'm going to go with the Packers.
Nice. Okay, the second one would be the Ravens at the Bills.
Going to go with the Ravens on that one.
Ooh, there you go, an upset.
Yeah.
The New Orleans Saints swept the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the regular season. The Saints are hosting the Bucks.
Tampa Bay. Gonna go with Tampa. Tough to bet against Tom Brady.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
And the last one will be the Cleveland Browns are visiting the Kansas City Chiefs.
Love you, Cleveland, but Kansas City.
All right, so we have a little bit of different there. That's cool. Sorry, guys. We know it's a Vikings podcast, but the Vikings are not playing right now, so we're going to talk about it. We're going to cover it all. We're going to cover the Super Bowl. We've been doing that on the
Hey,
show.
we
So you
have
guys can let us know if you have picks too. Like, chime in, man. We'll put them up here on the screen.
we have all off season to talk about Vikings football. There's a
Mhm.
lot of time that we'll be getting into draft coverage and all kinds of stuff too. I heard a rumor, speaking of draft coverage, that the combine might be a little bit different this year. The NFL has not decided if they're going to do a traditional combine where they bring everyone together in Indianapolis. They might do it more regional. So you might have a series of smaller regional combines that the NFL hosts. That will be because of COVID and not wanting to have, all the players travel and get together and stuff. That to me is actually more interesting. And I am a fan of having more smaller regional events instead of just one big massive combine.
I think here's a good one. Would you trade for Watson if it meant giving up Hunter? I would, but I don't think anyone would make that trade. You would have to give up like 2 firsts and a Daniil Hunter, and I would not do that. But if it was just straight up, absolutely I would. Deshaun Watson is a monster quarterback. He is a definite upgrade from Kirk Cousins. But no, I wouldn't do it straight up because I don't think it would happen. You'd have to give up at least a first, maybe 2 firsts and a second or another good player. But if it was what you have on the screen right now, John, hell yeah, I would do that. We can find pass rushes. You don't find top-tier quarterbacks that often. I would love to see what the Vikings could do with a young, super-duper talented quarterback. Because you got to think, he's the passing yards leader on a shitty team. But who was he throwing to? Will Fuller this year? A grandpa Randall Cobb? He didn't have DeAndre this year. So I would. I don't know. Do you like Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Deshaun Watson. Would I trade him if it meant giving up Daniil Hunter? Yes, I would. I also agree with you. I think that you would have to sweeten the deal a lot more than just Daniil Hunter to get that trade to go through in Madden.
Yeah.
Yeah. But actually, you know what? That is a story that's going to be talked about a lot this offseason, should the Vikings trade for Deshaun Watson. And that is like this year's should the Vikings trade for Larry Fitzgerald. Remember when we went through that like every offseason? I'd love it. I would have loved to have Larry Fitzgerald on this team. I'd love to have Deshaun Watson. Not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah. But it'd be cool. It'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be. I think badass. Like I said, I would love to see a young top 5 quarterback on this team, just a franchise quarterback like
Christian Ponder.
Franchise. Oh God, that ruined my train of thought. Like, I had PTSD for a second. I was like, no. No, I would love to see a top 5 quarterback, and if like Kirk Cousins is a franchise guy, but I want a top 5. I want a Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers type guy. And he's up there. Deshaun Watson is up there, but you'd have to give up the house for him. And I think trading away your future, it would kind of make you roll back to what Houston's going through. Can we rebuild the line? Because this O-line is pretty shitty. So he's just going to be running around for his life back there again. Now his wide receiver and running back situation upgrades a lot. But I don't know. When you start gambling away your future, that's where it gets kind of tricky.
Yeah.
But he's a good player.
I don't like giving up so much draft capital to bring in a player anymore. I'm just not a fan of trying to do that. They've had some success. We traded a bunch to bring in Jared Allen, and Jared Allen was a huge asset to this team. But then you look at, and I realize the situation is completely different, but you look at what we had to do to bring in Sam Bradford, and I cry a little bit inside when I look at the details of what the Vikings had to give up to bring in Sam Bradford, when they could have just fucking started Taylor Heineke, apparently.
Or Case Keenum, literally.
Or Case Keenum.
I love Sam. If he could have not been injured, that dude was so accurate. It was stupid, but
That's the story of his whole career.
Nice job,
If
dude.
he could have not been injured,
He made like
yeah.
$100 million and he didn't do anything. Uh,
Hey, he had
God,
to put up with Jeff Fisher.
that's true.
So,
God, that's a penalty in his own.
yeah.
Let's do Sam Bradford's net worth real quick. $70 million. Good for
Yeah,
you, dude.
he's laughing at us from his wheelchair at home because he's got no more knees, but
So let's go back to this because this is a good little transition here. Speaking of pass rushers, there's a certain former Viking that has been tweeting a lot, and he should delete his
oh,
Twitter. He should be banned from Twitter like Donald Trump has been because,
I feel
dear,
sorry.
dear God, Everson Griffin, what the hell are you doing? He's his own worst enemy. I really loved the flirtation about 3 weeks ago with him coming back to Minnesota. There was even one where he drove by the stadium. You know, the season's over for Detroit, all that stuff. He's driving by, and you see in his story, he doesn't say anything. He's like just driving by the Viking stadium, and I'm like, that's pretty dope. Um, that's pretty awesome, right? And then he gets into all these arguments with fans. It's like, bro, you're a millionaire. You're a pro athlete. Why do you care so much
I,
about what
you
fans
know,
say?
I worry about Everson a little bit.
Yeah.
More than a little bit, because he was replying to everything Minnesota Vikings related. He was arguing with fans on Twitter, and he was really coming across as like, you might need to get yourself some help.
Yep.
And I think he did tweet out that he was going to check himself in. Uh, so I hope that he's able to get the help that he needs because you worry when you see that kind of behavior coming out from Everson. If you ask me, it's a tough thing to try to weigh in on to say that maybe he should be done with his career and his livelihood, but I don't know if it's best for Everson to continue to play football moving forward. I don't know. I just think that it makes you wonder if there's some concussion related issues and uh, other things like that going on with him right now as well too.
He's only 33 years old. He just turned 33 in December 22nd. So he's a year older than us. December 22nd, 1987. The dude can still be in the league for at least 3 or 4 more years, but I don't want him back in Minnesota. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Get yourself some help. Also, can we point out something? I'm going to be a grammar Nazi here, and I'm going to be total kind of an asshole about this, but I don't care. You call Kirk Cousins ass and say he's ass. Ask Zimmer if he wanted to keep him, blah, blah. First off, don't spill a franchise's business and the head coach's business on the internet. Don't ever do that. But secondly, when you apologize on January 11th, 2 days ago at 11:41 a.m. at Vikings, just want to apologize to Kurt, like Kurt Warner, Kurt, cousin, not cousins, Kurt cousin for calling him out completely insane of me. Probably don't use the word insane. We'll be getting some help, checking myself in. Love everybody and want everybody safe. Sorry for doing this crazy thing. His name is Kirk Cousins. He was on your team for 2 years. Bruh. I don't know what's going on. I know that's a small thing to worry about in this tweet, but I'm just like,
But
on top of making yourself look terrible, you misspelled the dude's name that you're talking shit about. Come on, dude. But I'm
but
glad
I also yeah, I am too. I also think it's maybe a little telling about his mental state at the time. Uh,
probably true.
we love Everson Griffin here at the show, so we just want to see him get the help that he needs.
Yeah, you can't spill out all the dirty laundry and then hope that they hire you. I don't know how you would think that's a good, but he's, you know what, you're right. He's probably not thinking clearly. And for whatever this was, I mean, this happened 2 years ago, 2018, causing him to miss a few games. So who knows where he's at? I just hope that he figures it out because he's still very talented. And I think in the right system, he could help now that he's down out of his prime and on the decline a little bit. I think a rotational thing, kind of like I was mentioning earlier in the show about DeMarcus Ware. Hey, you're not our feature guy, but when you come in and disrupt on third down, every other series, can you do that?
Well,
Why
and
not?
like Adam said in our private chat, a few weeks ago, the idea of Everson Griffin coming back to Minnesota, considering how poorly our defense played and could not get any pressure on the quarterback, looked like a pretty solid proposition for this team. Like, hey, we'll bring him back. He'll give us the veteran discount.
Especially on the price tag.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're talking about his energy, too. His energy in the locker room was infectious because he was so fun, happy-go-lucky, meathead, like, let's go get after kind of thing. He's motivational and inspirational in a goofy, fun way, but not when you act like that. And I hope that he gets help. And, he's got a lot of time. It's only January. So if he can make a major turnaround, maybe he can do that. But I think he has severed all ties and burned the bridges with the Vikings. You can't call the quarterback out and put him on blast like that and the head coach. But Everson, we love you, man. I don't think you'll ever listen to this, but we're not trying to attack you and say,
no, not at all.
I'll be brutally honest about how I feel about it, but I don't hate you as a person. Love you to death, man. And I will always cherish your time that you played for the Vikings. But just take care of yourself, man. You got some babies at home. You got a beautiful wife. Like, go enjoy them and get better. That's the main focus. Moving on to the main topic of tonight, George Patton is leaving the Vikings and he is going to Denver. So this is the right-hand man of Rick Spielman, assistant GM. I'm reading an article about 5 hours ago on the Viking Age from Adam Patrick, and it says over the years, they've watched players they have drafted get after the first round evolve into superstars like Danielle Hunter, third round, Eric Kendricks, second round, and Stephon Diggs, more notably, was a fifth-round pick that just got turned around for a first the last offseason. So there's multiple people that help out Rick Spielman and Mike Zimmer and all those guys, and George Patton is one of them. And I just realized I spelled his name wrong, and that's really cool. So we're just going to keep that up because that's hilarious now at this point. But, yeah, he left to go to the Broncos, and is he going to be their GM there? I'm assuming.
I believe so, because John Elway failed up in the organization and is no longer the GM.
Dude, that's so sad because he had such a cool, story there, going to Super Bowls and losing and then finally getting two on the way out. Like, just such a gunslinger. He threw the ball so damn hard, but God, he was terrible at being a GM there. Outside of what Bradley Chubb and Von Miller, if he was a part of that.
There is something about making the transition from superstar player to front office role that is really difficult. I mean, you look at Michael Jordan is the prime example of the greatest basketball player in the history of basketball. Cannot run a franchise, cannot draft, worth a shit.
You know who else is there? Do you remember Space Jam? You remember Patrick Ewing? Played for the Knicks. He's there too to help him out.
Yeah.
Two top 50 players of all time, and they can't figure it out there. I'm a Charlotte Hornets fan, guys, and it hurts. So it hurts to think about.
They still have cool uniforms, though.
Yeah, you're damn right they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, George Patton leaves, and I think this is pretty telling. There have been some whiffs. We think about the Ponder era. We think about Laquan
Treadwell.
Overall, man, I mean, you gotta hand it to the Vikings, and this has been noted in the mainstream media too. With Colin Cowherd's been very adamant about saying how much he loves the Vikings roster. They've got a lot of players. I mean, shit. Go to the starters: Danielle Hunter, Eric Kendricks, Harrison Smith. They drafted Jefferson, Diggs, Dalvin Cook. Found him in the second round. I mean, there's a lot of good players. And, yeah, Rick has the title, and Rick's going to be over most of the decisions. But my question, I guess, going forward is, are they going to put somebody else in there? Is there going to be another assistant? It's probably going to be hired within if that answer is yes. But who are they going to find to help evaluate and make, be that devil or angel on Rick Spielman's shoulder, Do they replace George Patton? That's the question I really want to know.
I'm sure they promote from within. I think that losing George Patton it'll have an impact on this team, but I do believe that Rick Spielman and the Vikings in general, they've been doing this for long enough that they'll be able to continue to move forward, and it won't really I don't think hurt the Vikings that much, even though I think he was excellent at what he does. It's a great hire for Denver. Bravo, Bronco. I think they made an excellent hire at the DM spot. But I think that the Vikings will be able. You just went dark on me. But I think the Vikings will be able to continue on and have success.
I wanted to read this because if you're wondering, and this is off the Viking Age, I'll put it up here because Adam works there and we can promote the shit out of them. The Viking Age, right here, the first one on the left. Go hit up the Viking Age. This is from Adam Patrick, one of Adam Carlson's bosses over there. But if you're wondering, like, what his role was or how important it was, he was known and considered as the Vikings, quote, best evaluator of talent. And this is from Courtney Cronin. I'm going to read you something off of Twitter here. What types of things with personnel does an assistant general manager do? I was talking with a friend about this the other day. Neither of us had an idea what the position's responsibilities really are. And this is Courtney Cronin's reply to that tweet, and this was 8 hours ago today, actually. As one source told me years ago when I inquired about the thing when I joined the beat, Patton is widely considered to be their best evaluator of talent. Some will argue it's not even close. Not in the public eye often, but he's very much what makes up the muscle of the football side. That's a big loss to the Vikings.
Yeah.
That's a big, big loss. So, I don't know, man. They can promote within. I would like to see them go out and try to find somebody new. It seems like this organization is pretty stubborn about going to do that. And, there's pros and cons to everything. And
well,
but
also having a fresh set of eyes from outside the organization to come in and kind of look at it and go, hey, maybe try it this way might be a good thing too.
I want that, but then I think about the defense this year. Who did they have that came on that was from Green Bay and all those other places? The co-defensive coordinator, and the defense was terrible.
Yeah. Oh, shit. I can't think.
Was it Rod? No, it's not Rod Marinelli. What's the name?
Dom Capers.
Dom Capers. Dear Lord. Well, we jacked that one up. So,
yeah.
That's the name of the show, so that's cool. That's what we do here.
Remember when we were like, oh man, Dom Capers is going to make this defense.
And Mike Zimmer going to have the best defense in history.
There's the fucking best defense, and fuck the 85 Bears. The 2020 Vikings.
Your team was almost as bad as that, 2013 defense?
Oh.
I think they let up almost the most points in NFL history. That was so bad. Oh, man.
Was that Leslie Frazier? That was the Leslie Frazier defense, wasn't it?
Oh, God, yeah, and he's killing it as a Buffalo defensive coordinator, too. That sucks. Very frustrating. But, yeah, George Patton, we named it after him. I was going to do something with, Wild Card Weekend or the Browns or something like that, but pretty big news. We'll keep you updated on who the Vikings decide to replace, if they do, which probably they will, but we'll give you that update whenever that comes along right after and on the next show. But that's all I got for this week because Kyle alluded to it. We're going to do some draft evaluations once the season officially is over after the Super Bowl. The Vikings are picking at 14. They have a laundry list of needs, as we mentioned earlier, so it'll be fun. We'll have little nuggets to throw out here and there from the Viking Age, and whenever Adam can come back, he can always help. But we're going to rely a lot on you guys. So whatever you want to talk about, definitely. And guess what we're going to do again? Because we did it last year, and it was super fun. Live show during the draft. That was so much fun. Absolutely will be a part of that.
I have to find out exactly when they're holding the draft, so I can take that day off from work.
I'm going to tell you right now, you read my mind. NFL Draft 2021. That's not what I asked for. Where is the draft? Oh, Cleveland. April 29th through May 1st of 2021 in downtown Cleveland. There you go.
April? That's a ways off still.
Well, that's all I got this week, man. You got anything else you want to talk about?
That the only thing we forgot to mention is they are moving on from the special teams coordinator.
Oh, well, that should be a bit of happy news to round out the show. Marwan Malouf is not going to be the special teams coordinator anymore, which is great because the defense and special teams were the Achilles heel of this team
Yeah.
all year. It hasn't been officially said, and I don't know when they can officially say it, but I'm pretty sure we're done with Dan Bailey too. So on to the kicker carousel once again, which is amazing. Um, New special teams coordinator will definitely have to happen. Shout out to former Vikings special teams coordinator Mike Prefer for having to step in for former Vikings offensive coordinator Kevin Stefanski, who had COVID and couldn't coach the Browns game. They won in pretty glorious fashion, as we mentioned earlier, but there were some old Viking ties
Yeah.
there. That's a good point. So, yeah, we can move on from him. There were a lot of disappointing things this year. It was not fun. But we'll keep you guys posted. Thank you to everyone who joined in. I don't know who's joining in on Twitch, but we had a couple of likes over on Facebook, people in YouTube chiming in. John Young, Rod, Jonathan. I know I saw Scott Schwab like it earlier on Facebook, which was really nice. Tyler, thank you for joining in. Vikings Jerome. We appreciate all of you, and thank you for helping make the show a lot better. Going to throw up some banners and do some promotions and get out of here. Check out Adam Carlson's work. You can find it all here below. If you want to get some Viking news, go to thevikingage.com. If you're a Walking Dead fan, check out Undead Walking. He writes for both of those sites. I always say this, and I will as long as I'm on the show. Find an article on there. Comment anything you want below. Say, hey, Adam, my name is so-and-so. I found you from the YouTube channel. Or I like cats. Whatever you like. It's going to boost his numbers up, and you're going to help pay his rent. Mm-hmm. He also has a Twitch that he likes to promote, which I think is really cool. You can watch him on there as well. So those are all of Adam Carlson's things, and you should go support them. This is Kyle West stuff, and I'll let him talk about it.
Oh, yes, you should check out my photography work on the link down below on the screen. You can also find Purple People podcast merchandise. So if you like our show and want to get our logo on just about anything, you sure can. So check it out and maybe give it a share on social media. All that fun stuff. I would really appreciate it.
Jonathan says the Browns are the old Vikings. Are they the old Vikings or the new Vikings? Do they disappoint? Or are they good because we used to be good? I need to know more. It's a good comment, though.
Andrew Sendejo for the Cleveland Browns, rocking the complete salt and pepper haircut style, though. It's pretty cool.
Hair pretty white or silver, and I'm into it, even though he's not a good safety anymore. Yeah, they showed his PFF rank, and it was awful. But hey, another former Viking going to a former Viking coach that is the head coach there. I like that. And lastly here, if you are not subscribed to this YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification thing. What I like to do when we make these shows is schedule them in advance, whether it be 2 hours before, like I did today, or a day before. It's going to let you know when we're going to go live so you can kind of tune in and we can get all of your guys' participation. So do that. We have a Facebook page as well. We're pretty active on there. YouTube is where you can find this show. We're on Twitter and all that fun stuff. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and all that fun stuff. But I know you guys don't really care about that because if you made it this far, you're like, well, we appreciate it, but we're going. Yeah, all the old guys did go there. That's funny. Yeah, that's what I was saying about Andrew Sendejo, man. He is he's still playing in the league. Former Eagle, former Viking, now Brown. That's funny. Also, we can round the show out with a fun fact. Joe Webb is still in the NFL, and he is with the New York Giants. There's your Viking news for the day. I know you guys were dying to know where Joe Webb was. You get it here, because that's what we do on this show. I have nothing else. I'm talking a lot and rambling, so I should probably shut it down right at 59 minutes. Can't believe we talked that long. Thank you all for joining. Be good to each other. The world's weird right now, but we will see you back next week, hopefully with all three of us. We'll review divisional playoff weekend. And as always, stay classy. You've been a